English is not good.
No. I know you're speaking about
God is not for God.
new version.
Yeah. God is not for God. Nothing.
Right.
But how can new version say?
You know the entertaining point. Hello, sir.
How you doing?
I'm good. You good?
Beautiful.
What could happen? This is not necessarily a criticism, but it's just a reality. I could turn around to a Muslim and I'll say, this lady is saying this, and I answer this way, and the Muslim brother will say, MashaAllah, you've done very well, I agree with you. So when you turn to this gentleman and you tell him this happened, and he says, yes, I agree with you,
He's not finished.
that's how it's going to happen.
I didn't even.
I was just telling you.
No.
I described in the conversation.
Okay.
So
Yeah, but new books
are
Yeah.
corrupting.
But what was the conclusion
Telling
again?
you
Well, your conclusion was that
you said that
The conclusion was I was right and you were wrong.
Muhammad has believed in.
Yeah.
That's what he believes in. It comes in the form of the Torah, and that's what he believes.
So he says. So you're saying that you can believe in Moses without having a book present. That's your conclusion.
Yeah. That was my conclusion.
Yeah.
Whether you accept or not, my conclusion was that if the Quran, which I believe is the word of God, obviously you don't. But if the Quran told me to believe in something, that is sufficient for me. Whether I witnessed that thing, whether I touched it, like the example I gave you, if the Quran tells me to believe in the hellfire, without seeing it, without touching it, I accept it.
Okay, but
that's my point.
No, sorry, I want to make something that maybe you didn't get me. So what I'm saying to you is that when the Quran tells you to believe in something, let me try and understand what you're saying. You're describing that as the existence of something. But I'm saying it's not when it comes to Prophet and their books, because I can believe in the existence of Muhammad, but to believe in Muhammad, I have to see
No.
That's the point I'm making.
For example, obviously some people will say that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam never existed. Some people will say Jesus will never existed. But we'll put that to the side. If someone believes that this person in front of them, because they lived at that time, is Muhammad, that is Muhammad. Obviously, that wouldn't make them a believer until they said, that's Muhammad and I believe he's the messenger. The same with Jesus. So my point is, you don't have to see him to believe he's a messenger.
I agree with you.
So the same way, I believe if God has commanded me to believe in something, I believe it's possible to believe in it without
reading the book.
Yes.
So I'm saying it's not possible to believe in a prophet without reading their book. In the same way, it's not
I don't know how. I don't know how.
How can I say I believe in Muhammad?
How can I believe in the hellfire? How can I believe in the hellfire without touching it?
No. That's not hellfire. That's a prophet and their book. Because I can say Muhammad has 5 gods. I can make anything up. If I don't have his book to tell me that no.
Sorry, not to be rude. Do you know the time?
That's why I have
5:35.
But he's I like his temperament.
Damn,
5. That's fine.
But when we go to translate the problem from there.
But I like his temperament. Like I like to.
If you read.
No problem. It's a pleasure.
But do you want to conclude?
If you read
Maybe he'll help.
The hellfire, the afterlife, the
No, the book.
angels.
We're concentrating.
He's coming.
Those things are things that we can say are like non-corporeal, like they're not physical things. Angels aren't physical beings in the same way that light isn't a physical thing.
The hellfire is not physical.
The hellfire is not a physical place. I know you might believe it.
No, we believe it is. Yeah.
Well, don't worry yourself. You have
No problem.
You know how
No
before
problem.
you said that someone can tell you something.
No problem. Yes.
You should have
No problem.
So
I'm going to speak. No, I am. No, you're not going to stop me. No, listen. No, I'm going to speak. No, listen. I'm going to speak. Nobody's going to stop me. No, sir. I am going to speak.
Akhi,
What is this? I don't want to go speaker's corner, and no, hang on. Listen, I'm still talking. Listen, no, I'm talking. I'm talking. I'm talking. Listen, no, yes, I'm not representing. I'm representing me.
He is insulting.
no.
Listen, wait, no.
What I would say.
Listen.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
No, brother, thank you very much.
I'm going to make my point. And my point is, no, I don't really.
Okay. I'm not going to have a conversation with him. I'm just making one point and that's it.
That's what I'm saying now.
Okay.
I'm not going to Speaker's Corner. I'm not going to go there. But at the same time, I don't want Speaker's Corner to come to me. You understand?
No problem.
You understand?
I understand his point. I don't understand his. I don't agree with his presentation, but I understand his point. What his point is? No.
He wasn't doing anything. We're just having a friendly conversation.
No problem.
I don't care.
Okay, no
You're not
problem.
listening.
Okay, no
I
problem.
don't care.
Okay, no
Yes,
problem.
he's
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Because he said that he will cancel
So-
Let you to speak, please.
Okay.
He said that.
Okay.
You're going to lose.
My point would
You're
be.
dealing with the wrong person. I don't care. That's
Okay,
me.
Hamza, calm
We're
down, calm
having a
down.
I don't
conversation.
care. You're not hearing me. What part are you not hearing? I don't care.
I'm saying
Who
that.
cares?
Perhaps
I'm
we're-
saying-
Who cares? Don't bring Speaker's Corner here.
We're not. We're having a friendly
I
conversation.
think what it is, when you enter into a conversation, generally you look at the situation, you think, is this going to be beneficial? Is this going to be a waste of time?
So honestly, we're
You do it
not.
over there.
So we're not.
I don't know
We're
about
having
you
a
personally.
conversation.
Like for example,
We're having a conversation.
I
don't
won't mention his
care.
name.
I'm
One
ignorant.
Christian
You're
came
not
and I said
ignorant.
I'm not going to have a
I am
conversation with
talking to
you
and you're a good
because
person. So it's okay. We've spoken already.
let me see. Say for example, me and you.
Essentially, the reaction is a little bit too boily. Is that?
No. What I would say is, for example, me and you, we differ. You're a Christian, I'm a Muslim, and all that goes with it. So, at the same time, for a Christian, I would want good for them, and I would expect a Christian to want good for me and my family, etc.
Right.
Right.
That's love, the love of God, the agape love. Right?
Okay. Also, when we have a conversation, if a Christian says, I don't believe that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is a prophet, I don't believe in the Quran, obviously I would say they're wrong, but I don't have a problem with saying that because that's part of the discussion. When someone insults Islam or mocks Islam, then I would say there's no point having a conversation. Okay.
I think it's still is. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
The same way, I wouldn't insult Christianity. I may say things to a Christian which you find offensive.
Yes. Which would
But-
be the problem, right?
Like, say for example, I said
Jesus isn't God.
Jesus
or
isn't God.
That's blasphemy. Because if I told you that Allah was a malaika, you'd say no, he's not.
Yes,
so,
yes.
yeah.
But if I use words like dumb, stupid, or something,
Okay.
I wouldn't expect you to entertain the conversation. So I think they think you're from that category.
I see.
That's one thing.
Okay.
I don't know, but also.
Not quite. No, I like to have actual nice discussions.
But also, I have seen you have because the world is very small.
Okay.
We all have each other. I've seen you have conversations. I think the conversation would just go around in circles
Would you
and
agree
circles and
That if
circles.
you've seen me,
Yeah.
that if somebody comes in the manner that you have come in,
Yeah.
I wouldn't start yelling at them. I would carry on speaking in this volume because
Yeah.
they wanted to. And if somebody wanted to yell, like for example, I'm sure you know Lamin. Yeah, Lamin likes a good yell.
Yeah, but he's on our side, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good yell. So I can yell at Lamin, right? But
Yeah.
it appears that with you have a different approach. So that's fine. I can continue the same approach.
Yes.
As long as we need to.
But at the same time,
Okay.
I would also think it's probably not going to go anywhere. It's just going to go around in circles.
Do you want to then touch on just the point then concerning the sort of like equivalence between simply believing in an angel, believing in the hellfire, believing in God, when yet not seeing an angel, seeing God, or seeing the hellfire, and then believing in the previous prophets and their books, whilst not having seen them or felt the books? Do you want to talk about the equivalence of those two?
Let's talk for a limited amount of time.
What do you want? 5 minutes?
5 minutes is good.
Yeah, I don't have any. Just say 10 minutes.
So I would simply say that the books and the prophets, right?
Without. Yeah, I'm interrupting. Just when you said that the hellfire
It's not a physical place.
is not physical.
Yes.
How do you understand that someone will be placed inside something and will be burnt by something and then say it's not physical?
Because just like the Ash'ari belief, we understand something about analogical predication. How when we are discussing things of God or the afterlife, that we make comparisons
You made a mistake
to things
there.
that we have in the
You're mistaken.
in
You're
the
mistaken.
real world. For
You're
example,
mistaken. You're mistaken.
When we talk about God in the Bible sitting on a throne, we don't mean that God has legs, a femur, and a butt, and there is no golden throne that can withstand or hold the magnitude of God.
Okay. Let me just.
What we take this as.
Let me just say something. See, the thing is with the Ash'ariyah and the Maturidiyya and others, this is one of the.
I'm aware. I'm aware of the whole thing.
Let me I know. This is one of the arguments of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Athariya.
I'm not arguing their place.
Let me finish. They would make against the Ash'ariyah. They would say, why do you take everything concerning the hereafter to be literal, revelation in Quran and Sunnah, but you don't take it to certain attributes of Allah to be literal? So, going back to what you mentioned to say that the hellfire
is not a literal place.
Is not
like the
what word is corporal. Yeah.
Yes.
And then you use the Ash'ariyah. The Ash'ariyah, they believe that the hellfire is literal, it will burn. They don't believe it's an idea.
It's a location. I don't know if they all hold it's a location. But if they would, then I
But they believe it's physical, yeah.
That would be interesting. So it's actually somewhere within creation. It's somewhere within our reality. It's a place you could potentially travel to called hell. Is that what they believe?
No.
Is hell in our universe?
I don't know that.
Okay, well, that's why I would say it's non-physical, right? But okay, fine. Let's take out hell if you would like. The angels made of light, as you believe in the Quran.
Yeah.
Light isn't something that you can touch, right? So you can believe in an angel in that you believe that the world has parts that are physical and parts that are non-physical, gravity, magnetism, whatever you might have you, right? And then we can see the effects of those things in the way that we can see potentially the effects of an angel being able to protect people, tell them.
Sorry. You believe that angels
are non-physical.
Are non-physical. As
Yes.
in, no. You believe that angels, they cannot be witnessed. You can only witness the effect.
Did I say that?
That's what I understood you were saying.
Okay, so you yourself.
You didn't use those words. But when you gave the example of gravity and stuff like this, that we can't see it, but you can see the effects.
Yes.
And then you mentioned angels. I understood that you're implying that angels cannot be witnessed, but we can only witness the effect of the angel.
Did you hear me say revelation from an angel or protection? Did you hear me say those two things before you came in? Because I was clarifying what I meant by that. Right? So, yes, in both our traditions, angels can commune with people in a manner that they can understand.
Can they be seen?
They can appear to them in a form of something that can be seen. But ontologically, in being, they are not things that can be seen in a physical manner. Like an angel doesn't literally have feathered wings, for example.
Where do you get that from?
There is no description, for example, of an angel in the Bible with feathered wings.
Okay.
All right?
Oh no, but where did you get the fact that the angels will not be seen?
So they are only ever seen in a manner which relates to something that is visible in our reality. And according to your tradition, angels are made from light.
Yes.
Right? So, for example, if I ask you, could you see the light spectrum? You can't. So therefore, it would appear that angels in your tradition as well are technically invisible and then can take on the form of something that isn't invisible. In the same way in Surah 19, you believe that an angel appears to Mary in the form of a man, a perfectly preserved man.
Yeah, but also in the Quran,
there will be a need to state that he appeared in the form of a man for a reason, implying that that's his true form.
But also from the Quran and the Sunnah.
But we're going too far from what
we believe that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saw the angel Gabriel in his true form.
And then the Sahaba even saw him as a man. I'm aware of
a man is separate, but in his true form.
With his 600 wings and things like that. Fair enough. Again, that can be revelation, right? But the main point I'm trying to drive home, you cannot cast out believing in the scriptures of the previous prophets in the way that you can believing about angels.
So what did you say? I cannot cast doubt.
Cast out, right? Because believing in angels...
What doubt am I casting? I'm saying you have to believe in it.
Can be a faith-based position based on the reality that there are things that are physical and non-physical in our reality. Believing in the prophets and their scripture is a historical based conversation.
Okay.
So
one minute.
One moment. Let me just draft to the end, if you could, please, because we keep sort of doing this a little bit. It's not kind of getting anywhere. Historically,
no, because the thing is, if you make a lot of points which I don't agree with, then I have, and also I don't. Yeah.
Let me just draft to the end. Historically, we have a Torah, and historically, it is attributed to Moses. Historically, we have the prophets, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and they have writings as well. And historically, we have Christ, and then we have his teachings that were transcribed by his scribes and by his disciples. Even the Shah agreed to this.
Do you have Abraham historically?
Sorry?
What do you mean by historically?
Historically, I didn't mention Abraham. I mentioned Moses. I mentioned Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and Jesus.
Okay,
Abraham didn't write anything.
How do you have Moses historically?
Historically, Moses is held as being by the Jews the person who led them out of Egypt, who received the Torah on Mount Sinai. So the stories of Moses are kept by the Jewish people.
You consider that the Jews believe in something that's historical?
Yes. So
I don't think that's historical.
They're holding on to
that's not historical. That's not historical.
To mention that Moses.
No, the fact that people believe in something is not historical.
No, again, they can absolutely, because for example, the Romans believed in Romulus as being their founder. But Romulus was first talked about not in the 700s BC, but in the 1st century BC. But then people have spoken about Moses for as long as the Jews have had writings. So there's a historical basis to say that Moses points to a figure,
and when,
not Romulus. Okay. So do you see why there's a point there?
No.
There's a problem there with what you believe.
What it is. I mean, if you want, you can say a Muslim was scared. He ran away from the. You can frame it however you like.
I don't. Okay.
No. Let me finish. Let me finish. Let me finish. No. Let me finish.
He has an idea about me that isn't true.
No.
I don't mind.
No. This type of conversation of having to pull out small words and what the word means, and then go into philosophical arguments.
I haven't done that yet.
Such as, is this corporal? Is this non-corporal? Bringing in the Ash'ariyah. What is historical? For me, I don't entertain this. I stay away from these conversations.
But then earlier on, you asked about the history. He's answered what you asked.
No, but the thing is, he said historical Moses. But the fact that people believe in something
and have written
is not historical.
Text.
It's not historical.
So effectively, when we look at history, we have different degrees
like for example,
which you can judge
the Hindu gods. By the fact that people believed in it in history for a long period of time and have books, it doesn't make the gods historical.
Okay, wait. So
it makes the belief historical.
Absolutely. Now, the gods, right? When you want to actually talk about them being historical, we need to establish if they actually existed in the first place. And then when you're talking about things of the divine, like things of God, there are indicators that can tell you if a god truly is the actual god of reality, or if they're a man-made being. And this all stems from the understanding of that god.
What do you understand to be historical? What do you mean by something historical?
A component of the past, a story or a person, of which you can provide some names, locations, dates, or sayings for. Now, you can do that for theoretically anybody or anything.
Exactly.
But how strong is the evidence
I don't think that is considered history.
It would be. Because, take away the elements. Take away dates. Take away sayings.
Like
take away locations and names.
Robin Hood.
What history do we have?
Do you think that's historical?
So Robin Hood as a figure is not historical. Right? But he is, the story of Robin Hood is from antiquity.
Do you reject history in your belief?
No.
Well, he has to. No. But you need those elements.
The point is that he mentioned Moses and said we believe in him historically.
Yes.
But as Muslims, we don't believe in him
also
historically.
Jeremiah and Ezekiel. Because you don't have a history. That's the issue.
No. We believe it by revelation.
Yes.
By blind faith.
Effectively, yes.
Because
Islam is
that's not what we consider blind faith.
It is blind faith because Islam is disconnected.
Because there's no history to back it up.
No. Blind faith is
so where's the Injil? The Injil doesn't exist historically.
So this is what we
So that's why it's blind faith.
That's going to be my main point.
No. Well, the thing is, historically, according to historians, they believe that Moses didn't exist, Abraham didn't exist. That's my point.
They do,
secular historians. So you see, this is the issue that I have with Muslims at the corner sometimes. If we're believers, if we believe in the seen and the unseen, right?
Yeah.
The seen and the unseen are not both diameters that are used in history. We literally rely on just the seen, not the unseen. So if you're going to make an appeal to circular historians, right, who try to form a neutral basis for observing history by not appealing to any mystery, any miracles, and only what they can see, touch, hear, and smell, then I don't think that's the best way of doing things.
But for us,
because, for example, no historian would say
from our point
that
of view,
Muhammad actually met Gabriel, for example.
That's fine. I understand that. I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that.
So
And we don't have a problem with that.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Okay.
So my point is, when you use, because the point is here, the point of the argument is, can I as a Muslim believe in a book which I haven't read? That's the point. Or I believe doesn't exist anymore.
And a small caveat.
Okay.
Can you believe in a prophet that you haven't read his book? That's the question. Can you believe in a prophet without
Yes.
And the small caveat.
Sorry.
If I may.
Yeah.
The small caveat is just this. The Christians and the Jews will say that we have the scriptures, right? But then the Muslims are incapable of providing an alternative. So if I told you I have the second Quran, and you said, David, where's that Quran? You lost it, Yusuf. You guys lost it, right? I can't just make a claim and have no evidence whatsoever for it.
Yeah.
So that's the issue.
Yeah.
That's just going off somewhere else.
No, that's the problem.
And the reason why it's important is because they've been told to believe in the book.
Yeah.
So
we have to.
I'll put something to you. I put to the lady.
I also have one issue.
What do you think? I mean, I'm sure you're aware of it. What do you think of Deuteronomy 34, verse 5, 6, and 10?
Is this a prophet like Moses, scripture, or something else?
The death of Moses, the burial of Moses,
and then writing about it. Right?
And until this, and no one knows where Moses is buried until this time or day, and also verse 10, and there hasn't appeared in the children of Israel
like
up until this day a prophet like Moses.
Okay,
so I would say that
to talk about there?
I would say that this would indicate, or I would say more than indicate, it necessitates that Moses never wrote this.
Oh no! So again, we can fully say that in the same way that you believe that Muhammad dictated some of the Quran to his Sahaba, we can fully say that Moses did the same thing. He came down with the Torah from Mount Sinai, but the only physical thing that is described that he's coming down with is the pillars of the Ten Commandments.
Okay.
Right? That is a physical thing which he imbues onto the children of Israel, and they carry in the ark.
And what was written on those Ten Commandments?
Torah is a wahi, if you will. So Moses might have written some of it, like for example Genesis and Exodus, but then the remainder of the three books, potentially from the point where it mentions that Moses died, this might be when Aaron or Joshua took over to finish the rest of it, because he had been with Moses long enough to hear, because Moses was about...
I didn't know that.
Well, I told you that. But I told you that. But obviously you believe it more because he said it. No, it's normal. It's normal. It's not a bad thing. If a Muslim told me something, I believe it more than if he told me.
Joshua, I did nod. When you mentioned Joshua, we didn't. I'm so sorry.
Oh yeah.
No problem.
You can't.
I'm so sorry.
Let him do that.
No problem.
Etiquette, I didn't.
No problem.
So ultimately.
So I hope I didn't offend you.
No.
It's cool.
I like to respect culture.
So, as a result, it is okay for us to say that if anything was written that suggests that the author was already dead
I'm not
afterwards.
saying I accept it, I'm saying I didn't know. That's
no problem. But I said it.
By the way, just don't forget, Moses was 40 years old when he left Egypt running away, according to the Bible. He was then 80 when he encountered the angel of the Lord at the burning bush, and 120 when he died. So Joshua and Aaron had probably 40 years of time to hear about this Torah, and that's why they are equipped to carry on writing after he died.
My thing is, but isn't it widely accepted Moses wrote the Torah? Don't you guys accept that Moses wrote the
first
Torah?
5 books. Yeah, because the Quran.
We believe in revelation.
Quran 2,
amongst Christians and Muslims, that Moses wrote the Torah. That's what I was trying to.
Because the Quran itself
Are you
says
rejecting that Moses?
He's not.
No.
He's simply saying that what we have today isn't it. But I'm just telling him, provide me the next best alternative. That's all. Because if I came and told you, Yusuf, I have the Quran too, And then you tell me, okay, there is no Quran 2 because we have no alternative for the Quran 2, right? That I can bring you as evidence. And I tell you, no, I have it, but what happened was Uthman lost it. You would tell me, David, go away.
Sorry.
Nonsense.
Forgive me. I was thinking. Say that all again.
Sorry.
I was thinking about something.
No worries. If I came
Second
to you,
Quran, Uthman. Yeah.
If I came to you and I said, Yusuf,
Yeah.
I come from an Islamic tradition that believes that Uthman had the second Quran, but he burnt it along with the other manuscripts, right? And then you tell me, David, provide me evidence for this secondary Quran because we have the primary, and then we can point to that and say this has been the same since the 7th century. And I say, well, listen, you guys lost it. You guys burnt it, so therefore you find me the evidence. You wouldn't take me seriously. So that's why when the Christians and the Jews have their Torah, their writings, their Psalms, and the Christians have the epistles, revelations, and the Gospels, and we tell the Muslims that this is what your Quran is making reference to, we have a stronger case to stand on than you do, because you can't provide any feasible alternative.
No.
Okay, what is a feasible alternative to the Gospels and to the Torah and the writings and the prophets, or the Zabur?
That's why it's going around in circles.
That was my main point.
So when
Contradiction in Quran.
no problem. That's
Yeah, because that is not authority at all.
No problem,
It has
no
so many contradictions.
see, as I mentioned before, chapter 4, وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْكِتَابَ وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْإِنْجِيلَ. We gave him the Injil. Sorry, chapter 5, verse 44.
Something like that, yeah.
Chapter 19. Sorry, okay. Chapter 19, وَآتَانِي الْكِتَابَ, and I was given the book. Chapter 57, وَآتَيْنَاهُ الْإِنْجِيلَ, and we gave him the Injil. We believe in a book, which is obviously what the conversation's about, which was given to Jesus. But even the alternative, or sorry, not the alternative, what you're presenting that we should believe in, the 27 books, you don't even believe it was there, existed in the time of Jesus.
Okay.
You believe it was written afterwards.
Yes.
So the Quran is very.
We've always believed.
So yes, that's
we've
fine.
We've never held it was the opposite.
That's fine. I understand. But the thing is, my point is, and I'm probably going to finish here because I've been talking for a long time.
Do you notice how you didn't answer my question by providing an alternative?
No. Listen.
Right?
Listen,
notice that.
Listen.
Okay.
The Quran is very explicit. We have to believe in what was given to Jesus. Okay.
What is that?
Let me finish. And the Quran is very explicit that Jesus was given a book. He was given the Injil. So, the thing which you're presenting and saying that we should, that this is what Jesus, this talks about the life of Jesus, or this teaches about Jesus, the 27 books, it doesn't even fulfill the basic entry requirements.
Which are?
Given to Jesus, that's it.
But Surah 5:110, I believe, even says, Surah 5:110, Allah says that He taught Jesus the gospel, the wisdom, and the Torah. Implying it wasn't a book. It was a series of teachings that was imbued onto Jesus.
Okay. See, we can go around in circles. See, when you have a clear text, and when you have a text which could be understood this way or that way, okay, we always have to take the thing which is considered mutashabihah back to the muhkam. So when it says, and we gave him the Injil, okay, and when it says, and we gave him a book, and then you're saying it was taught,
yes,
it's not contrary to this.
So take it like this. Yeah. How about this? So you can bring it out and show me if you want, because I don't mind learning in this conversation. But what I would say is, does the Quran ever call the Injil a book, or when it mentions book pertaining to Christ, is it talking about, or Isa? Sorry, is it talking about the Torah? Because 5:110 will tell you that he was taught the Torah, the wisdom, and the Injil. Yeah. So the Torah, fine, that can be a kitab, sure thing, that's fine. But then what about the Injil?
Okay.
Is the Injil described as a kitab in the Quran relating to Jesus?
Yes.
Can you show me that so I can, if I can learn and I can move on?
What the book?
Chapter 19.
So Surah Maryam, yeah.
Yeah, because I left my phone at home.
That's fine, I got it. Surah Maryam, what ayah?
I believe it's 30.
30.
Yes.
Exactly. Oh, I don't know. Okay.
So, Jesus declared, I am truly a servant of Allah. He has destined me to be given the scripture and to be a prophet. So, now,
Adam everywhere.
Al-Kitab.
Right, so Al-Kitab. So the scripture, right? Now, is this talking about a book or a series of revelations?
That is the problem.
Yeah, in relation to this Al-Kitab, is this a physical book or a series of revelations? What's the understanding of the scripture?
Okay.
Yes, I think that's the problem.
Even on that point,
Okay.
how does that answer your point?
Because, for example, Ibn Ishaq, right? Because you kind of have, so Ibn Ishaq is an early 8th century? No, yeah, 8th century historian, right? And he writes a compounding of Islamic history and the life of the prophets called Sirat Rasulullah. So the biography of the prophets, one of the very first ones written. And in there, he says that John wrote the Injil of Jesus. Now, some people in the modern day don't want to listen to Ibn Ishaq, but Ibn Ishaq is the first person ever to write about the Isra Miraj. So if you throw him away for saying that John, the apostle of Christ, wrote the gospel of Christ, then you have to throw him away as well for the Isra Miraj. So even in your tradition, it holds still. Like Christ didn't write anything.
See, so the principle you just laid down,
Yes.
the principle you just derived from that, is that if someone says something, you have to accept everything they say.
What basis?
Let me finish.
You have to discuss
No.
Exactly.
No, you never mentioned anything about basis. You just
I can go a point further.
sorry.
Okay.
You just said if we don't accept
then
his statement that John wrote the gospel
of Christ,
then we have to reject the Isra wal Miraj.
Yes.
So your basic principle is I disagree with the principle completely.
To add to that, because there is no actual basis, there's no hermeneutic basis, there's no historical basis, there's no philosophical basis that you can use to claim that he was wrong about John writing the gospel of Isa, and then he was right about the Miraj.
No. Principle first.
Okay.
The principle you laid down is if you reject this, you have to reject this.
Because of what you said,
okay.
my qualifier.
So your point is that if someone writes something and you don't accept it, you have to reject everything they say.
If there is no hermeneutic way of actually deciphering between the first principle that they wrote and the second. So do you
No, but still, so you believe if you read a book and if a person says something wrong, that means everything they've written is wrong.
If there is no way, no principle you can use to discern between what is right and wrong, yes. If they have written a principle that is incorrect and they wrote another one that is correct, and you simply favor one over the other because you like what it says, then that is not a basis to actually believe in what was correct.
Okay, so do you believe, are you implying that the Muslims, they believe in Isra wal Miraj because Ibn Ishaq wrote it?
He's the first to write about it.
No. But are you saying we believe in it because he wrote it and we have no other way of knowing that it happened except that Ibn Ishaq wrote it?
Well, it is the earliest.
No. Therefore, if we accept this, we are bound to accept this. Is that what you're saying?
Not exactly what I'm saying.
Not exactly.
You're close.
Not exactly.
Not exactly what I'm saying. I am saying that he is the first to write about it. Right? So if he is the first to write about it, and he is likely the means by which others then reference to write about it, because actually in his telling of the Isra Miraj, it's actually very, very tame compared to the rest of the tellings that talk about him riding the Barak and then going and meeting and having a conversation.
No. What it is, the details here. I'm talking about the principle.
Again,
the principle
is potentially there might be another way for the Muslims to know about it, but he is the earliest. So historically, the earliest source for a thing is the one that we go to.
Because it did sound like you were making a point.
I was.
I still am. It did sound like you were making a point that because he said this, we have to accept this.
Yes.
But now you seem to add a lot more conditions to the principle.
Yes, because I can clarify a point. I'm allowed to do that. Is that? I mean, you can do it, and so can I.
Sorry?
But my friend, do you see how nothing I have asked you yet has actually been answered? It hasn't. Do you see that?
No.
So again, your next best provision that you can give me.
No, because
for the Quran,
the points which have been discussed so far.
Yes. Believing in the scriptures and the prophets.
The points which have been discussed so far, I think that they're actually going nowhere. I'll tell you why.
Well,
I will tell you why. Because the point you're trying to establish is that to believe in a book, you have to be able to read it.
I'd never said it that way.
You didn't say it that way, but that is the point. That is the point trying to be made.
If you believe in the book and you want me to take you seriously, provide me some basis. For that book existing.
Okay. And my basis, which I've said from the beginning,
is revelation.
Is the Quran.
So you have no historical basis. So you're limited always to revelation.
Okay. So historical.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Okay.
Because historically, Moses and Abraham doesn't exist. Let me finish. We
didn't. Circular history. Circular history. The same history would say that Muhammad didn't exist as a result.
That's fine.
That's not fine.
Listen.
Okay.
Listen. Because your point of history was because Jews at a certain time in history
writing about him and not
wrote about him.
Yes.
And mentioned him and believed in him, that proves historically that he exists.
That's evidence for him existing historically and not existing something in the 4th century BC.
When do you have the first recording writings of Jews about Moses?
Do you mean extant, as in existing today, or the very first writing of it? So which one do you want?
Extent. So you can historically test it.
So the first extant ones you have, for example, the Dead Sea Scrolls, for example, which are
so
from the 4th century BC.
You
would have
stop. So that's 1,000 years after Moses.
Yes.
Okay.
But you asked for extent.
So that's not considered historical.
No.
Yeah.
See, you made a mistake there.
Yeah.
You asked for extent, not primary.
Yeah.
Extent means, as you know, existing today. Right? If you only want to judge things based on extant manuscript evidence, then we're throwing a lot of things away.
No, because you're establishing the importance of history. So, and then you're saying that historically Moses existed because people believed in him and wrote about him. But if that writing about him,
back all the way,
does it go back to the time of Moses?
So I would say yes, it does historically.
Okay,
but as you're aware, not even something from the 7th century still exists today. For example, like the Uthman's Quran is completely gone, despite being written only 1,400 years ago.
How does it exist historically then?
I told you in the writings and tellings of the Jewish people, right?
Okay.
But even to add to that,
no.
As a Christian,
I think you understand. I think you understand.
Well, you're confusing extant with primary.
No. If you're saying that Moses existed historically, because people who came, or we have existing manuscripts
from the 4th century
written 1,000 years after him,
that cites earlier.
That's not historical.
It is historical, right? It is historical. It is simply extant historicity. That's all we're talking about here, right? And even beyond that, as a Christian, Christ speaks about Moses and references the things that Moses is said to have done. So unless Christ is speaking about a 4th century created figure.
Okay. So look,
I also take Christ's word
even if we go along with Christ said this, even if, for example, if I grant you, I admit, whether you accept what, I mean, obviously you don't really so much care about my opinion, but even if we say that Jesus, when he spoke about Moses, Jesus actually said it, okay, this is still not considered history. This is revelation.
Jesus is then backing up a historical claim. So that's my secondary, for example, pointer. Like
you don't have historical evidence.
You are confusing extant with historical. Extant means existing today.
Okay.
Right? In the same way that there is no Quran from Uthman existing today, right? But I cannot tell you that Uthman did not order a recension, because according to your tradition, he did. And that is a historical claim.
Okay.
In the exact same way, just because the earliest extant writings that we have currently that mention Moses are from the 4th century BC, there might even be others that are later or earlier, but I'm not aware of them. That does not mean that Moses is a 4th century invention, 4th century BC invention.
I'm not saying he's an invention, but I'm saying we believe in him not by historic evidence.
By revelation.
By revelation.
I'm aware.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that Christians and Jews have
And for
both
you,
revelation
and for you to say that Jesus mentioned him,
yes,
that's not historic. That's considered revelation. And for you to say that we have written text which still exist, but they were written 1,000 years after Moses.
Right.
This is not considered historic either.
That wasn't the primary way it was written. The text from the Dead Sea Scrolls.
But you're talking.
Because there are other texts that are older than that.
So what historic evidence do you have that Moses existed?
You can, for example, there's the evidence of the cursed rocks. I'm not sure if you're aware of the story, but there is at some point in Exodus, Moses and the children of Israel. Yes. They write some inscriptions on 2 tablets on top of a mountain.
And they still exist.
And then those inscriptions have been discovered, I think as of 2016, that bear the same inscriptions as what's described in the Bible. So the cursed tablets, for example, that's one of them.
And they have been dated back to that time.
Well, that's the problem, right? They're stones. So effectively, they'll be much older than that time. But effectively, they match up very well with the story described in Exodus that was written by Moses. As an example. There's a lot of others.
But that's problematic. Problematic because you have stones in a location, and what you said is 100% correct. That the stones obviously could be thousands of years old.
Yes. So you can't really carbon these stones.
So you can't say that. When were they? Are they engraved or written on?
Engraved.
Okay. When was it engraved?
You can't carbon that either. That's another problem.
Yeah. So therefore, so that's not historic evidence.
Well, it is in.
That's circumstantial.
It matches.
Yeah.
Well,
but it's not historic. It's not historic.
You wouldn't be able to have circumstantial evidence.
It's not historic evidence
of a number of tablets being found that bear an inscription that had the description from a much earlier source. So that would be circumstantial. You don't happen to come across rocks that have engravings on them.
The engravings of those rocks.
Yes.
Was it after Jesus or before Jesus?
Far before.
What, the engraving took place?
Yes.
How do you know?
Types of tools that were used, for example, were out of fashion and primitive by the time of Jesus Christ.
How do you know what tools were used?
They're not very smooth, detailed engravings. They're very crude, to imply that they were made at a time when there were less sophisticated tools available, like potentially using literal rocks to break rock.
Yeah, I wanna go.
Anyway.
Well, my friend, do you see the problem here?
No.
You believe distinctly based on revelation.
Yes.
With one man to attest your entire religion on. You attest everything on the truthfulness and trustworthy on Muhammad alone.
Yes.
Well, Christians and Jews don't hinge upon just one man. So if everything, if 100 people hang from a building,
so what do you
save them?
No. See, so what it is? You've taken something and you framed it a particular way. Okay. So when you say you don't believe in what one man has said,
no, I didn't say
what do you mean then?
Our faith.
Okay, your faith
hinge upon
on one man.
The testimony of a singular man. Okay. Neither the Jews or the Christians have this problem. Only the Muslims do.
So what does your faith hinge on?
A multitude of things, but in regards to human testimony, it hinges upon the testimony of a multitude of people. The prophets, the disciples,
okay.
outside pagan sources, for example.
So give me a clear example of a human being that you rely upon.
So, for example, for the Gospels, we can cite the 12 disciples. So there are 12 individuals who were from lowly backgrounds, except for 2. Who came together under a common cause and went around the world preaching the exact same thing to churches in Ethiopia, Egypt, Syria, Antioch, Rome, in India with Thomas. And even with India and Thomas.
Okay. Because it's going to go a long way. According to the 4 Gospels, are the 12 disciples the same people?
What do you mean the same people? Sorry, the
Yeah,
same
one
individual
was
or the
Matthias.
exact same?
Do you have 12 different lists? Do you have 2 different lists of different disciples?
So there are many disciples.
Yeah.
There are the original 12.
No, because you mentioned the 12.
First Jesus sent 72.
Yeah.
The 72,
Yeah.
there's the 4,000 and the 5,000 who were fed with
But
bread
12,
and fish.
12 were
But the
real,
12 initially included Judas.
received
Yeah.
Holy Spirit.
And he is called the son of sedition because he betrayed Christ, hung himself, and then he was replaced by Matthias.
Yeah.
It's all there in Acts.
Let's see.
Sir, can we just change the topic? Who?
No, I'm going to finish very shortly.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's
Well, again,
Yes.
Yusuf, do you see the issue?
No.
I haven't received an answer for any of my questions. All I am being told
No,
is
no,
that
no.
you believe because
No.
you believe.
No. You've made a point.
I've
that-
made various points.
Yes, but I don't think any of the points add up.
Okay.
Let me
Can you
tell you.
provide an alternative?
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. When the Quran, the Revelation, has told us that Jesus was given a book and Moses was given a book, for us, the same way we believe in the hellfire without seeing it, the same way we believe in paradise without seeing it, the same way we believe in Abraham without seeing him, the same way we believe in Noah without seeing him, is sufficient. That's the whole point.
That's blind
Yeah.
belief, and
It's
for
not.
me,
It's
that's not good enough.
It's not blind belief.
What?
It's not blind belief. Blind belief.
No, carry on.
Okay, blind belief is when you believe in something and you have no reason to believe it, or you don't have any
Well, no evidence.
and you don't have any authority to go back to. So for us, the Quran itself is sufficient authority.
Okay.
Yes.
But ultimately, the Quran itself is not sufficient for me because it does not.
That's fine.
It does not meet the category of something that you would say, for example, is from God. Because any category that I've seen any of you guys come up with are essentially things like don't hold much water and can be disproven quite easily. So
According to you.
if you want me,
According to you. Yeah.
well, sure, we can say according to me, but I could show some of these things as well if you'd like to see it. But ultimately, if the issue here is that you hold that the Quran is the word of God,
Yes.
and so therefore anything the Quran says
Yes.
is sufficient for you. Let me say this then. Quran 3:55.
Yeah.
It talks about the believers or the followers of Isa
Yes.
being superior to
Yes.
the non-believers
Yes.
until the day of judgments. Why don't you come join the believers and be superior until the day of judgment? Because Allah has promised that He will make them that way. So come join the believers of Jesus Christ and become superior.
Okay. For us, the believers in Jesus is not what you consider the believers in Jesus. That's the point.
Show me that
Yeah.
from the Quran. Show me that the idea of the believers of Jesus, who by the way the Quran says were actually shown a miracle directly from Allah on the table. What's the table
So
in Arabic?
Ma'idah.
Sorry, thank you.
Yeah.
The disciples of Jesus Christ received something, and not even the Sahaba had received.
No.
A direct miracle
But that's
from Jesus Christ.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
Can you show me anything in the Quran
No,
that tells me that
missed,
the believers
you missed the point.
in Jesus Christ
You
are not
missed,
as we describe?
you missed the point. You missed the point.
Right?
The Quran
Yes.
explains that God is one. There is no. Let me finish.
Mm-hmm.
There is no Trinity. Jesus is not God.
No.
Jesus did not die on the cross.
931 doesn't say that.
Listen, Jesus did not die on the cross.
Well,
So
that's contestable.
listen.
But my Ahmadi friends have gone help me with that.
No
It's very
problem.
contestable.
No problem. But whether you agree or whether you disagree, that's well, obviously you disagree at the moment. But the point is, so I'm saying that the Quran, what it considers believers in God, in messengers,
In the last day.
and in Jesus, is different to what you believe.
Can I see that,
your
please?
belief will be yes, as I just told you. The Quran clearly says that Jesus was not crucified on the cross.
Okay.
Okay. So therefore, when you say that he was,
Say the Jews didn't kill him.
Yes.
and it says that he was, but it says that he wasn't killed, and he did not die.
It says the Jews didn't
Yeah.
kill him.
But then
Yes.
it also,
It doesn't say.
yeah, the Jews boast, we killed the Messiah, son of Mary. They neither killed him nor crucified
That's why
him.
some Muslims
Instead,
actually now argue.
it
Well,
was meant to
Ahmadis are not
appear.
considered Muslims. Yeah.
Well, they believe in Allah on the last day, so that's all you need.
Anyway,
And the 5 pillars and the 6 articles of Prophet from Qadr, because Qadr doesn't make any sense. So
separate issue. Anyway,
yeah, but ultimately, what you can see there actually is that in the Quran, for example, it appears then that what actually happens to Christ is that Allah is the one who kills him and then raises him to himself. But the problem with that is if Allah was to raise something to himself, you agree that Allah is above his arch, which is above the 7 heavens. So therefore, Jesus, according to your tradition, is being raised in the exact same place that Allah is. So right now, he's outside of reality, outside of time and space. You could even say, that he's by the right hand of the Father.
And was Elijah raised to God?
He wasn't. He was raised to the heavens, right? But Christ, this is actually a very, very good point. Elijah and Enoch are both described as being raised to the heavens, right? But Christ says no man has ever been to heaven apart from him that came from heaven. So that tells us that actually we believe in progressive revelation. The understanding that we might have had, or the Jews might have had, that Enoch and Elijah are with God isn't accurate. Actually, they're likely in Sheol, waiting for the final judgments.
David? It's David?
David.
I'm going to finish there. Thank you for your time.
But become superior, that's what I would say. Become superior.
I disagree with most of what you said.
Become superior.
No problem. Thank you very much for your time.
Being inferior is not a good thing.
Anyway, finish now.
God bless you, okay? God bless you.
Thank you for your time. Madam, thank you very much. No problem. Robert.
Hopefully, this wasn't that bad for you. Hopefully. We can talk again potentially in the future, or what would you say? Rate me out of 10.
In terms of what?
Or rate me out of Sahih or Daif. Like, what am I? What am I? Along that.
Well, to be honest.
Yes.
Of course, I consider you to be a disbeliever.
Okay.
And I don't believe the conversation. I think it was a waste of time. Although you
really?
Yes.
Ouch. Okay.
So that was it.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. Because
although he answered the question about.
I don't think. I don't think he answered.
That's why.
Okay.
No. Yeah. What we're doing here is. It's fine. It's quite normal. But you're asking my opinion.
Yes.
I'm giving you my honest opinion.
Yes.
If I'm right, if I'm wrong, but this is my honest opinion.
Okay.
I felt it wasn't a good use of time. I thought it was too many issues were brought up.
Okay.
But
notice how I tried to stay on point, and then
I don't think
you
so.
slightly move on.
You moved. Okay. You brought a lot of other points away from it.
Because you did.
No, I don't think so.
I was answering.
So even we don't agree on how the conversation.
The history and he had to make.
No.
My side asked.
No.
Do you watch this back? Do you watch these things back when you go home?
Sometimes.
If you could watch this one back,
no, he said
right?
That.
If you
he's
could,
given his view.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could watch this one back, and please, if you could, honestly, give it a view, and then let me know if in the playback, if you felt that I was the one bringing up a brand new point each time.
Yes, I do.
And if you feel that way when I come back,
because
then tell me that.
Okay, let me just tell you what.
Okay.
I don't know how long we spoke for. Maybe
35 minutes.
35 minutes. Okay, 35 minutes.
Okay.
The 35-minute conversation, to discuss that 35-minute conversation, or to go over the 35-minute conversation, how long would it take? Well, obviously a lot longer.
To go? Oh, you mean to watch it back?
No. To watch it over will take 35 minutes, obviously.
Yes.
But for me and you to discuss it and then bring out each detail.
That's not what I said.
No. But let me finish.
Okay.
Let me finish.
That's not what I said.
It would take a long time. So I think it's not.
Maybe this is not the right place.
And no, that's fine.
Maybe for next
Even when we finish, obviously I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 minutes. Neither do you. But I would presume that we would go away where I still hold my position, and you hold your position.
Okay.
So I don't think it is that beneficial.
You need more convincing. That's all it means. So what I would simply say is spend 35 minutes, watch our conversation, and if next time you see me,
I'm aware of the conversation. I'm aware of the conversation now.
But you feel like I was dodging and moving on to different points, then fine. David, you dodged too much.
No.
That's what I mean.
No, I'm not saying you dodged.
Okay.
I'm saying I think you brought up points which are irrelevant. Or not even irrelevant. They didn't prove the point you were making.
Okay.
But that would require.
Okay.
You would say, Yusuf, tell me, and then I tell you. Then we have a conversation.
Next time.
And I don't think it's beneficial.
Next time I come, tell me your number one issue. your number one issue, right? And then we will discuss only your one issue, and we're not going to go anywhere else.
Without being rude, without wanting bad for you, etc. I probably wouldn't have a conversation with you again.
Simply because of this one?
No, because even in the beginning, I felt from watching you and have a conversation, I felt it would go nowhere.
Okay.
Okay, David?
And I think it has gone nowhere because we introduced too many things.
David?
So I would say, tell me your number one problem, and then we can...
Thank you very much for your time.
Well, God bless you.
All the best. Take care.
Do you want a hug?
No.
No?
That's too far.
Do you want to bring it in?
No.
Okay, well...
Thank you. Let me...
The peace of God be with you.
See, the thing is, I don't know if you do it deliberately, or it could be your personality.
I'm a nice guy.
No.
I'm a nice guy.
No.
That doesn't.
It's like the points will never end.
Okay.
So me, I understand. I can be polite.
Okay.
With Christians.
Okay. Likewise.
But shaking hands, thank you very much, all the best. But hugging,
be cordial.
No.
Okay.
But no, hugging is no. That's too far.
You can't hug a Christian.
No, I wouldn't. No. Maybe my family. But we're going for another way.
You see?
No problem. I'm not a judge over him. So thank you very much for your time.
All right. Well, thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Right, see you later.
Bye bye. Take care.
Appreciate it. All right. Well.
Alhamdulillah.